Hi, welcome back. It is Experimental Sunday again, and today I'm going to be doing some more analysis of the Akai forces emulations of the MPC3000, the MPC60, and the SP1200. But this time we're going a little more scientific with our methods. We're going to be using a noise floor meter, and we're going to be using the spectrum, a visual spectrum. And also I may throw in a LUFS meter so we can kind of see where the volume levels are, as well as a tool that I like to use from Isotope called tonal balance control, which I use personally for mixing because it allows me to make sure that my mixes are balanced. And of course, you know, I got to yap about what I'm thinking about with all of this. So hold on, let's get started. Asterisk. Oh boy, I don't even know where to start. So much has been going on. It's summer, and most summers I look forward to seeing what the manufacturers are going to be releasing and putting on sale, software-wise and hardware-wise, for the summer. And it's also traditionally a good time to really plan for purchasing new things because most things are on sale. So if you didn't know that, now you know. So also the next time of the season that it is a good time to buy things is in November during Black Friday. That's the only other real time that you can really get good deals on things because everything is on sale as the manufacturers get ready for the holiday season. So those are the things I've been looking at and seeing things come out. I don't want to make this video really long and drawn out with this particular chat. I'm just gonna say that emulations, they're all around us. And if you look at some of the most prolific mixers in our current time, you'll see that most of them have moved away from analog gear and are using emulations of that gear. Why is that? It's because it's so much easier to do. Buying gear is expensive. When most of those mixers started their careers, there was no VST or any type of computer-based technology available to them that allowed them to be able to do the things that we're doing today. We live in a beautiful transitional time in history. It's unreal the amount of programs and software that's available that can emulate a lot of that old gear from back in the day. The thing is that you really need to understand what that gear does, its purpose it serves, and basically how to use it. You have like an incredible opportunity to be able to make amazing music using software nowadays. And in further we go into future, it's just only going to get better. I don't see it getting worse. And what you have to do is you have to train your ears in how to use this stuff. But what you're hearing ultimately is what's going to make for what everybody else is hearing. So it's important that you spend time in making an environment around yourself that will allow you to be able to hear all of the intricate nuances of the things that you're trying to record. Otherwise, what you're going to be hearing is not going to be an accurate representation of what you're trying to create. So when you're talking about sound, sound encompasses a lot of things. It's not just the machine that you're recording to. It's also the speakers that you're listening at the music from. It's the interface that you're connecting all of your gear into. It's the cables that you're using to plug into the gear. So there's just a lot of elements that go into recording sound. Now, the way that you can learn how to hear these things is you can listen to some of your favorite mixers and the songs that they've mixed. They know this stuff because they hear all the individual components that they're using in these mixes to be able to give their interpolation of all of that, the parts all together in one. Now, one of my favorite mixers that I love to listen to his tracks is Leslie Braithwaite. He is one of the most prolific mixers of our time. He's been doing some of everything in the sun here lately. Every time I see an interview with them, he's like the most gracious mixer as well. He's always willing to give information about how his mixes are put together and how he's doing it. But his number one thing, and what I truly appreciate about what he does with his teaching, is he says that you really need to know what it is that you're listening to and how to get that. How do you get that sound? And it's so important in understanding how to get the sound. When I'm sitting down and I'm trying to work on something, and I'm trying to match something that I'm hearing that I've heard on a record, I will go back and see if I can find an interview where somebody's broken down something with it and see what kind of plugins they're using and listen to those plugins and see what those plugins are doing. What kind of compression is it doing? What kind of noise is it adding to the sound? Noise is part of music. It's always there, and it can be either harmonic or it can be non-harmonic. There's things that you really need to learn about mixing before you can make any kind of recording. You can release just about anything, any kind of way, but people are not going to really be listening for your mixes. You know who listens to the mixes? Us, your peers. So we know what kind of quality that you're using or what kind of quality that you're giving us. But for the average user, they don't really care as long as it sounds good, like from a drum and bass perspective, and the melodies there and the vocals, what they're doing with the vocals. They don't care. Nobody really cares. The only people who care about that stuff is us. So when you're making something, when you're mixing, you have to remember that it's all subjective. It's a subjective process. No person is better than somebody else. Every single mixer that I've listened to, they mix differently. Their ears are different. They're different as far as being human beings. Everybody mixes in a different way. So there's so many different things that you could do from a recording perspective. So I'm saying this to say that it's subjective, and you cannot trust one person's analysis over another. The only person that you can trust is you and your ears and what you hear, your music. How do you want your music to sound? Now, I say all of that to say emulations, it's what we have to deal with. Unless you're going to go out and spend $100,000 on gearing up with compression, limiting, de-essers, preamps, summing mixers, big desk mixing consoles that have analog circuits that allow you to have conversion over to digital. We're talking about a $5,000 console, if not more. for that kind of sound. I definitely don't have that kind of money, and I've never wanted to spend that kind of money on any kind of console. I don't have the space for it, and I know from personal experience that I could get just about the same sound from my UAD console and plugins. Anything that I've seen as far as advertisement for any kind of analog gear, I can pretty much get a very close emulation of it with plugins, not just from Universal Audio, but from Waves, from FabFilter, from any of the other manufacturers who have built very good solid VSTs that have good sound. So it's just, you're not gonna see us going backwards very much. And even the manufacturers know that. Most of them have started to move more towards making software-based emulations. Prime example would be Solid State Logic. They are very much so known for their big consoles that they started out with back in the 70s. You're starting to see them get into more controller-based platforms and also plugins, which they never did before until now, which is a sign of the times. It's a sign of the times that we're living in, and that they're taking note of it, and you should be taking note of it as well. Also, again, it's just emulation technology has been around for so long. Suffice it to say, we live in a very technically advanced time, and it's only getting more advanced. Everything is digital. People are moving more and more towards that particular area. That is all I've got to say. I'm gonna now show you this project that I built for the Sunday. I wanted to build something that was a little bit more, that had a little bit more percussive punch. So I decided to do something more Afrobeat-like, and that has like a lot of rhythm and a lot of percussion type sounds, so that you could get a better idea for the emulations that I'm hearing and how I'm hearing them. Now, what I did too is that I'm running my outputs to my interface, my audio interface, and then I'm using the spectrum analysis tools inside of Ableton so that you can visually see what we're hearing. So you're getting the full analysis of what this machine is doing from an emulation standpoint, from its outputs. I'm not running any USB audio at all. I'm bypassing that and just running regular audio TRS outs into my DAW. So let me just show you that.
Don't call me, baby. 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 Don't call me, baby.
This is the Akai Force Manual, and this is the page that talks about the A to D and D to A conversion. Now it states that it's 32-bit and it's at 44.1 kilohertz, but when you go look at the machine, and I'm talking about the very latest version, the bit depth is only 16 and 24 for both recording rate, which I'm showing here on the screen, and also the bounce rate, which you can bounce at. So I think maybe there's possibly a typo in the manual that needs to be taken care of, or if they do truly want to support that bit rate, it needs to be added to the machine.